So my topic is layers and lies. Just giving a short introduction on myself. I've been a UX designer for about 2 years now. I've moved into business and I'm doing a lot of management stuff. All right, the animation is very slow, so I apologize. But has anyone got to this point any time before when you're using CSS? I'm pretty sure everyone almost has, because this was a while back, but like about a week, not a week, about a solid 2-3 months back, I came to this point, and turns out it was just another attribute messing up my component structure stacking. Well, you know, we've all been here. This is a wall that everyone's hit, and sometimes when you're working with Figma, with designers and across teams, you're gonna get to this point a lot of times, especially once you get all the, designers doing all the designing things and giving you complex components to develop. Jeez, I shouldn't have put the animations. I'm regretting putting the animations now. All right, Figma lies to you guys. Figma lies to you because it has to. It's an app that needs to be user-friendly and it needs to be easy to use, and that's why they use a system where they use layers. Consider a layer as a piece of paper. You put another piece of paper on top of it, that's your next layer, and so on and so forth. And that's how it does the stacking. I love Figma. Being a UX designer, I can't say I hate Figma, but when I'm on the other side developing stuff, I absolutely hate Figma. Let's just say, let's take an example. All right, I have a card component. It's in layer 1 or whatever, the bottommost layer. You've got a button that's on the next layer. That's how it would work, right? In CSS, it's not exactly how it would work. There is a bit of difference, which we'll see when I move forth. I don't know what you guys saw there, but for me, the animation in the back just wobble around. Apologize again, guys. Like I mentioned before, Figma has layers. With CSS, you're working with HTML DOM trees, and its elements just don't float freely like they do in Figma. They are bound by the ancestry that is laid out in the DOM. When CSS renders the depth of an element, the position in a 3D space isn't just determined by its own properties, it's also determined by its parent component and all the other attributes that it inherits. So when, in teams, when a designer asks, hey, why isn't the drop-down menu like how it looks in Figma? The answer isn't CSS is broken, it's just that they don't understand how CSS works most of the times, but the parent DOM is holding that drop-down as hostage. All right. I've said this before, but it just doesn't stack layers, it stacks context. So even when your Z index might be an absurdly high number, you might still be stuck on the ground floor. Think of CSS as a skyscraper, and every level is a separate stacking context. It doesn't stack individual elements, it will stack the whole inherited element. Again, let's take an example. Let's say you have a button which is on floor 1 of the skyscraper with a Z index of, how much is that? 999,999. And it will be the tallest object on floor 1. But if floor 2 sits above floor 1 in the building hierarchy, anyone standing on floor 2, even if the Z index is 1, will still be higher than floor 1. So it's not your Z index that is failing because it's not enough. It's failing because you're trying to reach out of floor 1 when it can't. All right. So these, I've put down some of the context values, attributes that do start up a stacking context in CSS. So attributes like opacity, transform, filter, there's a whole lot of them. I think MDN has a whole documentation if you want to refer to that. But some of these attributes, if you have them in your parent, or even if you have it in your child, it will just ignore the z-index property. All right. And it's also, I forgot to mention, but it's also on the browser, because the browser, it essentially pulls the entire container out of the main floor, builds a brand new isolated floor in our skyscraper, and every single child element inside of it. All right, we'll do a little quiz here. It's a very simple one. Let's say out of these two options, let's get a show of hands on which of these options would contain like the child element to the parent and not stack it correctly.
I want to guess B. Forgetting which way z-index goes.
Well, we just talked about context. So we'll...
Actually, no, yeah, there's more. I'm forgetting whether negative is on top or positive is on top.
No, positive, you're correct. Positive is on top, but
Right.
we just talked about context. And I mentioned that some attributes such as opacity, if you do put them in, they will ignore z-index. So which one do you think is the correct answer here?
So opacity puts it on top, regardless of the z-index.
No, opacity will put it on the bottom regardless of the z-index. It will push it down to the very bottom of the parent container. So in this case, let's say if we want our button to be on the very top, we want option B. Yay, the ripple effect worked, finally. All right. I have a small demo. Another question, we'll do a spot the error kind of thing. I'll run a web page and have a code block on there. So let me quickly get that up, and hopefully you guys can find out the mistake in that one. Has anyone encountered this problem before? Where the drop down is under the all right. So it's a working drop down. I haven't slacked on the code there. Oh well, I should say Gemini hasn't. Let's see if we can spot the mistake in this code block. This is it's a very simplified instance of the code that is running in the back, but includes all the things necessary that we need to make the decision. You want to see the slide again? All right, let's get a show of hands. Who all thinks position absolute is the problem? All right, just 3. That is not the problem. Oh, well, you might think maybe the spacer is the problem. Nope. I think, Phil, you're the first one to get this. Who all thinks it's the transform now?
It's got a 0 in there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But yeah, that is the problem. And let's try and fix this. So this is going to initiate the fix. It's just going to remove the transform. Yay! It works. And Gemini's done the job there correctly as well. All right. Let's quickly move on. Well, we now know some of the attributes that do affect our z-index, but CSS has been getting good. I gotta give props to everyone who's working on CSS. We have the isolation attribute. How do we use it, and what does it do? Well, what isolation does is basically it tells the browser to just create a clean stacking boundary right in the container itself. It keeps all the child Z indices contained inside of the container, the parent container. And by placing isolation, you can isolate your root component wrappers, which definitely prevents child components from leaking outside of the parent container. It kind of gives your components the exact self-contained predictability that Figma offers, I would say. So that is one of the attributes that I like to use in day-to-day. If you're working in a team, these are some of the things that I would recommend to tell your designers to do, especially the last one, defining global design tokens for Z indexes. That way, you can probably, whenever the designer is putting all the stuff in, they can add those attributes as tokens next to the components, and they show up on Figma Dev. Also, I have this conversation with my designers all the time. I tell them not to overcomplicate any components. They try hard, but you know, sometimes you need that aesthetic in the app, so you have to work around and work with the designers to get things sorted. And rule 1, which is the first rule, which I just realized I went from down to up instead of up to down, is explicitly label your overlays. In Figma, one of the best practices is to label your layers. So whenever you pass on that work to your developer, they understand it much better than just randomly name stuff such as layer 1, group 3. Just makes everyone's life easier. I know the next slide is going to be a bit controversial because I showed it to Zach and we had a brief discussion saying, oh, it's not, but it is. Well, Z-index is kind of old now. It's kind of dead. People use a lot of native top layer API stuff. They use a lot of popover attributes and stuff like that. And obviously, we can't forget AI. AI, you can just tell AI to fix Z-index, fix this, no mistakes, and it should work. No, I'm not encouraging you guys to do that, but there are ways to work around the difficulties of using Z-index. But yeah, that's about it from me. It's a very short talk, and I'm very sorry if you didn't understand this. This was prepared in a very short amount of time because I'm literally applying for jobs all the time.